Hi, welcome to the 13th floor. I'm Marty Duda. Today we're very excited to have Moana with us.
Kia ora, Marty.
How's
Thanks
it
for having
going?
me. Very, very well.
Yeah.
Excited.
It is exciting because you have these singles coming out. One's released today with a
Yeah.
new video and all
Yeah.
that. And you're here to tell us all about it?
I put the sounds on and put my earbuds in, and I was thinking, oh yes, it makes me feel so happy, and energetic.
That's what we need, man.
Oh man, I reckon, eh? Like I don't know what's going on in the world in the last hour, but I've just been into the music. You know? It's been fantastic.
So give us the lowdown on what this project is and what you've released today.
Today is the maybe it's the second song of this project,
Yep.
the Ono project, which is 6 songs. It's my 6th album, and each song features a guest vocalist from an Indigenous nation.
Cool.
So the first one that came off was with Jani Lawson from Canada. She's a First Nations woman, and that was called Two, and I love that. The song that we released today is a collaboration with a woman called Inka Mbing, who is from the Atayal nation from Taiwan.
I was wondering how that was pronounced because I saw how it was spelled. It was interesting.
I actually got my friends in Taiwan to record the pronunciation and send it to me so that I wouldn't muck it up.
Oh, good on you. Good on
Yeah.
you.
So she was traditionally from a tribe where women didn't really sing in their language.
Right.
So
Were they not allowed to?
I think there was a little bit of a ban on that.
Yeah.
And she defied it, and now she's kind of celebrated for being one of the people who have helped carry it on.
And how did you find out about her?
My band and I have been up to Taiwan a number of times to play. We really love it up there. And I was on an advisory group to the Minister of Culture in the last a year ago because of my ongoing movement up there. And my friends up there who are filmmakers introduced me to Inga. Gee, that's noisy. What's going on in your hood?
Well, this always happens. It's quiet all day long.
The city, eh? The
Except
city.
for the sirens, and they're probably just rushing to get donuts. You know, they're in a hurry. But anyway, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So Taiwan is has a similar experience in terms of colonization.
Right.
Colonized by the Japanese and the Chinese. So there are 16 tribes that are recognized now. And they're, we have a lot of engagement as Māori with Indigenous Taiwanese because we have our language strategies here, which they're really interested in.
So when you approached her to do this track with you, what kind of conversations did you have about it?
Friends approached her on my behalf, and then Patty and I flew up to
and
Taipei.
Patty is?
Patty Free, mega producer, member of my band, Pitch Black, just a neat, creative, very handy bloke on technicals.
We could use him here.
So he does music videos too.
Yeah, good.
So we flew up to Taipei and we drove out to the mountains to this woman's village, and then my friends had already explained to her what this project was about, and then Patty turned the music on and I could see her face changing. Not with excited anticipation, more slight horror.
Oh, really?
Because all the beats in that were just like, too full on for her.
Right.
And so our interpreter, who was from the Taipei Times, he was saying to me, she's not that keen on singing with music, and all those beats are just too loud and very distracting. And I thought, this is all going to go belly up.
Right.
So I said, well, should we just sit down and get to know each other? And then we discussed through our translator our different experience of language loss in our respective cultures. And I explained to her why I like to use music and very contemporary sounds to kind of elevate the music and raise its visibility among young people. And so then she sort of she thawed. So that was cool. So then we did it.
Yeah, and you did it.
Yeah,
and
then
what
we
was that
came
process
home.
like?
We did it in her yoga studio.
Right. Oh, great.
Which is a yogi out in this village, and so it was very calm. And then it was fantastic. And then we came back to New Zealand. And then Patty put some more big fat bass beats in it.
Didn't distract her then, because
she just sounds amazing. She's just powering over the top.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And so the video that's been released today.
Yes.
talk us through that a little bit. How did that get put together?
So a young video maker, Vinnie Carter, who I met through Marty Television where I do my current affairs show, he put together that video. We started just before lockdown. Mm-hmm. So then I'm asking my friends in Taiwan, which was doing really well during the COVID, this whole, that intense time, what they could do. Now they happen to be filmmakers, which is how I met them. So they drove back out there into the mountains and they filmed her. And then, when we were locked down here at the higher levels, then Vinny edited it. So it was a bit of a mission. But, I'm really wrapped. He did a great job.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice, eh?
Yeah, there's a lot of different elements that are obviously been pulled together to make this thing happen.
And my daughter is in there, so it was very funny because it got to level 3, day 1 of level 3, and I thought, well, we're local, we'll just go down to our beach at Muriwai and we'll film her. We'll sneak the drone out and film her on the sand. Do you know we could hardly get a bloody park?
Really?
There were cars everywhere.
Man.
And there were so many people on the beach. I'm like, I'm sure that you're meant to be just local.
Yeah.
And they were going, oh yeah, we're local. We're from West Auckland. Henderson. So yeah, it was a bit of a mish.
But it turned out pretty well.
It did.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of it.
Now you mentioned that there is a previous cut as part of this series that you did with this Canadian person. So tell us about that now.
So 2 is, so Toku Reo first, the one with Taiwan, is a tribute and a karakia about language, the value of language and its ancestral origins. 2 is about the traditional Māori rite of dedicating a baby to the gods and the ancestors to empower them to be strong for their people. So Scotty wrote those lyrics and we filmed that on Karangahapia Road, and then Yanni Lawson from Canada, they were in lockdown in Toronto.
Right.
Which is kind of handy because people are at home, they can do stuff. Not
available.
so handy because they're meant to stay inside their home. Right. I said, just sneak out in the morning. So she said, I've got my daughter here, we'll get a phone. I said, just anything will be grateful because you can't get film crews.
Yeah.
So she nipped down onto the street with her daughter on the phone. And, so Yanni sings in her language, and it's a very, I love it. It's high energy too.
Right.
Her chanting, they call them vocables.
Yeah.
So so that was the first song to come off.
Very cool. And how did you find out about her?
When our band was playing in Canada, I asked my.
It pays to travel around, doesn't it?
I got the hookups. Yeah, it's funny because everybody, except for Inka, my friends knew her. But in Canada, in Toronto, my band were playing there, and I said to my mates, "Is there a vocalist that you know that might like to be a guest performer with us on stage? We won't be able to rehearse.
Right.
Could you just come along and jump on stage? And I'm thinking, I hope she's all right. Well, anyway, this woman come along, and she jumped on stage with her drum, and we played our song Ancestors, and this incredible vocal just powered out, and I'm sure we were all standing there like, and my warriors are like,
yeah.
It was just, and I'm like, carry on with the song, and but she's an award-winning singer in Canada and a very artistic person, so it was a real privilege having her voice on there.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, she's working with you, so that's the same deal, man.
It's incredible now when I think about how technology has brought us all together, because, I was in Australia, doing performing and listening to tracks of a guy that was recording in Jamaica, and he'd sent his vocals to our German friend in Paris who was mixing it all up, on another song. Right. And you just sort of think, wow, we don't even have to be in the same room together. Yep. I've never met the guy in Jamaica.
They're doing that all over the world.
I mean,
and I'm listening to these records, and it sounds like there's a band playing. Yeah. And like you say, nobody's ever met anybody. It's crazy how you do that.
Do you think we could do a video and then, you know, and he's in Spain now, and the minute, oh my God, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a series. So what's the next one going to be?
I think the next
Thinking
one
ahead.
is a collaboration with the Australian artist called Shelley Morris. She's in a group called Black Arm Band. It's a big, huge collective with Archie Roach and a number of
cool.
artists there. And her tribe, there's only about 50 speakers or something, you know, a very small number of speakers. So Shelley is an extraordinary singer. We've actually met and sung on stage together in New Zealand and in Australia and in Scotland. So yeah, it's cool. Really
Cool.
nice. Yeah.
So we'll be looking for that. Another
Thank you.
video with it as well?
Yes, Vinny has done that.
Oh, good.
Vinny's done, he's the man. He's the man. Don't anyone steal him.
Very impressive. Now, you mentioned that you have a current affairs show.
Yes.
So we should talk about that because current affairs is all over the place these days.
I know. You know what's been really nice is today I haven't thought about it.
Oh, sorry about that. I'm bringing it up.
Only because I got in the car and I was tuned into RNZ and I heard someone say, and Donald Trump's been nominated for like the Nobel Peace Prize. I thought, am I on the right station?
That must be fake news.
Fake news. Yeah, so I was approached by Māori Television 18 months ago,
Right.
to do a current affairs show, and I wasn't really, that interested because I was touring with my band, and they were quite persistent and they were quite generous with the freedom that they would give me.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's
basically,
important.
basically you can pick your team and do whatever you like. I'm like, okay, this could be handy. So last year we did 20 shows as a pilot, and then this year we're about to wind up with 36 shows. And my son, who's actually a real journalist, I'm just pretending.
Are there any of those left?
There are.
Okay.
Yeah. He jumped across to be my producer.
Oh, cool.
So it's been a real privilege to have a platform to interrogate some issues, to present them in a way that you hope connects with people, to demystify some things, to clarify some things,
So when you're doing this,
yeah.
how do you worry about expressing your own opinion too much or coming across
Well,
as...
I try not to, but one of the reasons they got me, I think, was because I expressed my opinion.
Yeah.
But I understand, you see,
Yeah.
that journalists are required to be fair, balanced and accurate. That's the mantra.
Right.
So I try not to roll my eyes if I'm interviewing someone that I don't like.
That's a toughie, isn't it?
But it's interesting. I have interviewed people that I absolutely disagree with, and you can have quite an interesting discussion.
Yep.
I don't think everything's all black and white. And my son said to me, he said, "Oh, Mum, I want you to do an opinion piece at the end." I said, "Well, that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard." No. I said, "This is ridiculous. Mike Hosking and all these people do that." He goes, "That's why you have to do it." Right. So I go, no. And then about 2 days later, I go, okay, maybe. Yeah, and that's been interesting.
I'll bet.
You know, I'm not doing it to get squillions of views but it might be like one we did on, invisible racism, institutional racism. Another one is what defines a Māori, because a lot of Pākehā might think, well, you've got to look a certain way, speak a certain way, act a certain way. Even some Māori think you've got to think a certain way. If you're a rabid right-winger, you're not a real Māori. You see, that's how some of our people think. So I challenge that and say, well, no, they are. They've got the genealogy. Just because we disagree, you can't like wipe out their bloodlines. So it gives an opportunity to sort of be provocative in a way.
Cool. So who do you have coming up on the show?
Well, on Monday, I'm interviewing David Tamihere and Taina Pora, who are probably the two most well-known names in New Zealand criminal history, about the subject of miscarriage of justice, and I have them together in the same room. And that was a privilege, to be able to speak to them about what that Taina obviously has had his conviction quashed. David asserts that he is innocent, and he's, through the royal prerogative of mercy, he's going back to the Court of Appeal. So we're looking at that whole miscarriage of justice, and it was really. I'll tell you one thing I noticed, Marty, is that they're very patient.
Yeah.
Like when we're fluffing around, like
Yeah.
I move that camera, I'm saying, oh, sorry, it's
Yeah.
slow. No, they're all good. And I'm thinking,
It makes it easier, doesn't it?
well, I'm thinking, I guess you must be patient.
Yeah, well,
if you've been inside
yeah.
for over 20 years, you know? And how do you adjust when you come out?
Yeah. So doing this current affairs show, how does that change the way you think about things?
It's been quite good because it's made me, and my son has made me, interview or speak with people that I probably wouldn't normally, because I just think they're nutcases, or I disagree with them.
Right.
And he'll go, come on, okay. And then you sit down, you know, and everyone's very pleasant, and then you hear what they say, and it reaffirms your own thinking, or might slightly challenge it, you know. And even people that have quite divergent views, you can always find some way to connect.
Yeah.
So I try and challenge them, and hopefully it challenges myself as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because everybody, you know, if you try to confront somebody, they're just going to get defensive on you and
you have
attack back, pretty much.
Yes, and I think it is important to confront and challenge. And Māori current affairs is a little bit of a different style too. We are used to maybe not interrupting so much.
Right.
Because we don't do that on the marae.
Right. Americans do it all the time.
You do it all the time, eh? Yeah. And you know, Western media, of course, it's always interrupting, and I wanna get you.
Yep.
So, but yeah, it's just trying to understand how people think and why. Yeah, it's a privilege.
It sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Excellent. Hopefully, we're going to get to the point where you're going to be able to play out some. Are you planning on doing some shows if the opportunity arises?
Yeah, I have a project working with Rhoda Roberts at the Sydney Opera House with a whole bunch of artists.
Right.
And we were going to do that at the start of next year. I'm not quite sure how that's all going to play out now.
Right.
So yeah, just like a lot of other musicians, everything's been knocked on its head.
Yeah.
I'm
all the
lucky.
festivals are just cancelling out for years.
Yeah, I know. And then what's happened is that in Europe, all the festivals that have been cancelled this year, everything's just shuffling over a year, so you can't get into that year.
Yeah.
So yeah. But you know, we're really lucky. We're really safe here, and
we are, and we
I'm
got some great
blessed.
local talent, I might say. So,
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
I've seen a couple of shows, tiny little things at like the Wine Cellar, where just outrageous jazz things going on that I would never have gone to if normal things have been going on. It's like blowing me away.
Yeah.
So it's great. So
I know.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I think those intimate things, like I've seen some online with Alicia Keys and different, and Adele and that, just singing, almost looks like your background here.
Yeah, right.
You know, and it's stunning. It's beautiful.
It is good. Yeah.
So that's cool.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you for coming by on the day of your release and talking to me. It's been very exciting.
Thank
and we'll
you,
look forward to
Marty.
the next one in a couple of weeks.
Really appreciate your support.
My
Kia ora.
pleasure.